All right, hey there, welcome in. Today, we're diving deep into, well, how to get from where you are to where you dream of being.
hmm
We've got this text, goal setting and achieving big dreams, and I really want to unpack it with you in a way that makes it feel doable, not just a bunch of theory.
Absolutely. Practical steps, real world application. That's the key.
Exactly. And, the text starts off with this idea. Imagine, trying to drive somewhere, but with zero clue where you're headed.
Yeah, it's a great analogy, right? Just going through the motions, but no real destination in mind.
It kind of makes you realize why goals are so important, huh? I mean, the text really drives home that without them, it's easy to just kind of spin your wheels.
Definitely. Without a clear target, our efforts are scattered, we lack direction, and progress, if any, happens purely by chance. The text really emphasizes how goal setting transforms those vague desires, the some days we all have, into tangible steps.
Right, it bridges the gap, makes it feel like, okay, maybe this is possible. And the text points out, you look at those who've achieved big things, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, it all starts with goals.
Totally. The source material is very clear on that. It's not just talent or luck. It's that focused energy, that deliberate action, all directed by goals. And it's not just about reaching the finish line either. The text talks about how crucial goals are to keep us going, when things get tough.
Oh, yeah, motivation can be so fickle. The book really highlights how having that goal in sight, it's like an anchor when doubt creeps in. Plus, you can actually see how far you've come.
That sense of progress is huge EE. And you know what? Goals also help to filter out all the noise, all those distractions we're constantly bombarded with.
Right. It's like our brains are naturally wired to zero in on what we deem important. And when we set those goals, it's like we're telling our minds, this is it, focus on this.
Precisely. The text uses this great phrase. It calls it concentrating our cognitive resources. And that laser focus is what helps us gain real momentum. But it's not just about the end result, is it?
Totally not. The text makes this fascinating point. It's like in striving for our goals, we actually become different people.
Yeah, it shapes us, right? The source talks about how this process builds discipline, perseverance, and even patience. Qualities that extend far beyond whatever specific goal we're working towards.
It's almost like the journey itself is refining us, making us more resilient.
That's exactly it. It highlights that it doesn't matter where you're starting from. What matters is deciding to move forward and choosing to grow. It's about those choices we make today shaping the future we want.
Right. And that's empowering, right? Knowing that we have that power. Okay, so we've got a solid grasp on why goals matter, but what about those really big dreams, The text kind of dives into this idea of dreaming big, but clarifies that it's not about Fantasyland.
Exactly. It's about stretching our belief in what's actually achievable. It's like challenging those self-imposed limitations we often put on ourselves without even realizing it.
Right, right. And the text gives some amazing examples. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Oprah. I mean, their visions at the start probably seem pretty wild to a lot of people.
Totally. These were individuals who dared to envision a future that was radically different from the present. And while their dreams may have appeared improbable to many, their unwavering belief is what propelled them forward.
It's inspiring, right? The text emphasizes that these big dreams, they often come from this place of boundless thinking. It's not just about what's easy or convenient, it's about creating something truly meaningful.
Absolutely. The source highlights how big dreams are often fueled by a profound desire to make a positive impact, to create genuine value, and to leave the world a little better than we found it.
But it's not all sunshine and roses, right? The text is pretty honest about that. Dreaming big, it comes with its own set of challenges.
It acknowledges that those big dreams are going to come with big challenges. It's like growth happens precisely because of those difficulties. It's in facing and overcoming those hurdles that we truly evolve.
Okay, so don't shrink those big dreams. Let them guide you, especially when things get tough. But how do we actually turn those dreams into reality? And that's where the text introduces the SMART framework. Could you break that down a bit?
Absolutely. The SMART framework, it's like a roadmap for making those dreams a reality. It provides a clear set of criteria to ensure our goals are well-defined and Importantly, achievable. So let's start with S for specific.
All right, specific. The text makes it clear that simply saying, I want to be rich or I want to be happy, that's not going to cut it. We need to get way more granular, right?
Exactly. Vague goals produce vague results. We need crystal clear targets. Instead of financial freedom, maybe it's save $10,000 for a down payment by December. That level of detail, that's what fuels a concrete plan.
Okay, M is measurable. I guess this is all about how we track progress, right? How do we know we're actually on the right track?
Right. If we can't measure it, it's hard to tell if we're making any headway. The text gives a great example. I want to be healthier versus I want to run a 5K in under 25 minutes by June. See the difference. One you can track, celebrate those mini victories along the way.
Makes total sense. All right, A is achievable. So our goals should push us, but not be so far out there that we get discouraged before we even start.
Exactly. We need that sweet spot, challenging but realistic. The text uses the example of a new business owner aiming for 1,000 customers in the first month. That might be setting themselves up for disappointment.
Right.
But aiming for, say, 50 to 100 customers, that's tough but doable. It allows for momentum, those small wins that fuel bigger aspirations.
Then we have R, relevant. This is about making sure our goals actually align with our values and long-term vision, right?
Exactly. The source material is big on this point. It emphasizes purpose. Asking ourselves, does this goal truly matter to me in the grand scheme of things? Does it reflect who I am and what I want to achieve?
Deep stuff. And finally, T, time-bound. I guess deadlines, they create a sense of urgency, help us avoid procrastination.
Absolutely. Without a clear deadline, it's easy to keep pushing things off. The text highlights that setting those time frames, whether it's daily, weekly, or yearly, it injects accountability into the process.
I love how SMART isn't just some fancy acronym. It's a practical tool to make those dreams into actionable plans, gives you that feeling of control. Okay, so we've got our SMART goals. Now, how do we actually make them happen? The text talks a lot about focus and persistence.
Yeah, those are like the non-negotiables, right? The foundation for making those dreams a reality.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world, it's so easy to get distracted.
Oh, tell me about it. Social media, news, there's always something vying for our attention.
The text hits the nail on the head. It's a constant battle, this focus thing. It's about consciously choosing to prioritize, to resist those endless distractions and pour our energy into what truly matters.
Right. And it suggests creating a structured routine, like carving out specific time each day to work towards those goals, even if it's just for a little bit.
That consistency is key. Why? It's like building a muscle, the focus muscle. The more we practice intentionally directing our attention, the better we become at shutting out the noise and really honing in on what we want to achieve. And then there's persistence, right?
Yeah, persistence. It's about not giving up when things get tough, when setbacks happen.
Man.
And they will happen, right?
Oh, for sure. The text doesn't sugarcoat that. The road to success, it's rarely smooth sailing. But persistence, it's that inner drive that keeps us moving forward. It's about embracing those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
I love that quote. The difference between successful people and others is often not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will.
So true. The source material gives some great examples of individuals who achieved incredible things, not because they were inherently more talented or lucky, but because they simply refused to give up. They embraced the challenges and kept pushing forward.
So it's about setting those clear goals, breaking them down into smaller steps, and then, just showing up and doing the work day after day, even when we don't feel like it.
And it all starts with that first step, then another and another. Before you know it, you're miles down the road. Now, there's something else the text talks about that I think a lot of people struggle with, and that's fear and self-doubt.
Oh, yeah. Those can be huge roadblocks. And the text is really upfront about them, recognizing that they're a normal part of the journey.
It normalizes those feelings, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you're not alone in this. But it also provides strategies for dealing with them, starting with fear, which often pops up when we're stepping outside of our comfort zones.
It's almost like a sign that we're on the right track, pushing ourselves to grow.
Exactly. The text encourages us to embrace that fear. Acknowledge it, but don't let it paralyze you. Instead, take action despite it. Each step we take builds courage for the next challenge.
And self-doubt, that nasty voice that tells us we're not good enough. The text reminds us that everyone starts somewhere, no one's born an expert. So true. And you know what? Comparing ourselves to others, that's a recipe for self-doubt. We're always going to find someone who seems better or further along. The text really pushes back on that. It encourages us to focus on our own progress, our own strengths. Even keeping a journal to document accomplishments can help.
Right, like tangible proof that you are making progress. The text also highlights the importance of having a supportive network, people who cheer you on and offer encouragement, especially when you're struggling with self-doubt.
That's so crucial. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who challenge you in a positive way, and who remind you of your worth, especially when you start to forget.
Okay, so fear and self-doubt, they might always be there to some degree, but it's about not letting them call the shots. Now, the text introduces this idea of a growth mindset, which seems pretty central to achieving big things. What exactly does that mean? So a growth mindset, it's this core belief that our abilities, our intelligence, they're not fixed. They can be developed through effort, through learning, and through embracing challenges. It's the opposite of that fixed mindset, where people believe their abilities are predetermined and they shy away from anything that might expose their perceived limitations.
So, with a fixed mindset, failure is like the ultimate fear. But with a growth mindset, failure is an opportunity to learn and improve.
Exactly. It's about seeing those setbacks not as evidence of inadequacy, but as valuable feedback. And the text emphasizes that everyone who has achieved anything significant has faced setbacks. It's part of the process. The key is to learn from them and come back stronger.
So, how do we actually cultivate this growth mindset?
Yeah.
Any tips?
The text gives some great practical advice. Embrace challenges head on. View them as opportunities to grow. Focus on the effort you're putting in, the process of learning, not just the end result.
I love that. Celebrating the effort itself.
Right. And surround yourself with others who embody that growth mindset. Their energy can be contagious.
Okay, growth mindset, check. Now, the text moves on to the importance of establishing daily habits that support our goals. It's like success isn't this big dramatic event. It's built one day at a time.
It's the small, consistent actions that compound over time, right?
Hmm.
Those daily habits, they shape our behavior, our mindset, and ultimately determine how much progress we make.
So first, we got to figure out what are those key habits that will actually move us towards our goals.
Exactly. And then it's about starting small. Don't try to change everything overnight. The text warns against that. It's like overwhelm is a recipe for giving up.
Makes sense. It's got to be sustainable, those small changes over time.
Right. And there's this cool technique the text talks about, habit stacking, where you pair a new habit you want to build with one you already do automatically.
Oh, yeah, like brushing your teeth, then doing 5 minutes of meditation.
Exactly. It makes it easier to stick with. And this text also talks about accountability again in this context, finding someone to check in with, helping you stay on track.
Right. Having that external support can be huge, especially when motivation dips. And the text reassures us these habits, they take time to form. It's a process, not an overnight thing.
Exactly. It's about being patient and consistent and celebrating those small wins along the way.
Okay, so those daily habits, they're the foundation. Now, the text moves into the importance of tracking progress and celebrating wins, even the small ones. Why is that so crucial?
Well, it's about staying motivated and engaged, especially when those goals are long-term. It's easy to lose steam if we don't have a clear sense of how far we've come.
Right, it's like if you're not tracking, it can feel like you're just spinning your wheels. The text suggests keeping a journal, using a tracking app, anything that helps you monitor those milestones.
It's about making that progress tangible. Seeing those wins, no matter how small, it fuels us to keep going. And celebrating those wins is so important. It's not just about reaching the final destination. It's about acknowledging those small steps that get us there.
Totally agree. The text emphasizes that those little celebrations, they don't have to be huge. It could be just taking a moment to appreciate how far you've come, treating yourself to something nice, or sharing your wins with someone supportive.
And tracking progress, It also gives us a chance to reflect on what's working and what's not.
Right. What we can learn from those setbacks, those challenges, it's all data, right? Helps us adjust our approach.
Yeah.
Okay, so track your progress, celebrate those wins. Now, the text brings up accountability again. It seems like having someone to help us stay on track can make a world of difference.
It does. It's like having a built-in support system, someone who knows your goals and is invested in your success. It creates a sense of responsibility and helps us stay committed, especially when those doubts start to creep in.
And it makes it harder to make excuses, right? Like, you know someone's going to ask you about your progress, so you're more likely to actually follow through.
Exactly. It's about raising the stakes. The text also points out how valuable it can be to get feedback and advice from that accountability partner. Sometimes they can see things we can't, you know, offer a different perspective.
And it suggests finding someone who's not only supportive, but also willing to challenge you. Someone who believes in you, but isn't afraid to give you a little nudge when you need it.
Exactly. That balance is key. And the text also mentions accountability groups or online communities, which can be really helpful in finding that sense of shared purpose and support. Okay, we've talked a lot about setting goals, staying focused, and being persistent. But what happens when we hit those inevitable setbacks?
Right. The text addresses those moments, acknowledging that they're a part of any ambitious journey. But it really emphasizes turning those setbacks into comebacks. How do we do that?
The key, according to the text, is to reframe how we view setbacks. Instead of seeing them as failures, we need to see them as opportunities to learn and grow.
So, no beating ourselves up. It's about understanding what happened, analyzing why things went off track, and extracting those valuable lessons.
Exactly. And then it's crucial to reconnect with our why. Like, why did we set this goal in the first place? What's the deeper purpose behind it? That can help reignite our motivation and get us back on track.
It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but the text emphasizes the importance of staying flexible.
Adaptation is huge EE. It's about being willing to adjust our strategies, to experiment with different approaches, to pivot when necessary. The path to success, it's rarely a straight line.
And ultimately, it comes down to resilience, that ability to bounce back stronger. The text makes the point that setbacks don't define us. It's how we respond to them that shapes our journey.
It's about embracing those challenges as opportunities for growth, emerging from those tough times with even more grit and determination. And speaking of determination, what about those times when our motivation just tanks? We've all been there, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the text is realistic about that. It acknowledges that motivation ebbs and flows. It's not something we can always rely on.
Right, and that's why those habits we talked about are so crucial. When motivation dips, having those systems in place, those routines we automatically follow, they keep us moving forward. But the text also suggests reminding ourselves of our why, our deeper purpose. That can be a powerful motivator.
Totally. Connecting with that core reason behind the goal can give us a much-needed boost. And the text talks about breaking down those big goals into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Yeah, those mini milestones, those small wins, they can reignite our enthusiasm and make the whole process feel less overwhelming.
And it reminds us that progress isn't always linear. There will be ups and downs, but it's the consistent effort that matters most.
Exactly. Consistency over intensity, every time. And celebrating those small wins along the way, that helps keep the momentum going. The text also highlights the importance of having a positive support system, those people who cheer us on and offer encouragement when we're struggling.
Surrounding yourself with the right people makes a huge difference. Now, the text transitions into this crucial aspect of patience. It's like in our fast-paced world, we want everything and now W. But real, lasting success, that takes time.
The text really drives home the importance of trusting the process, even when we don't see immediate results. It's about having faith that consistent effort over time will lead to those big achievements.
Right, it's that delayed gratification thing.
Exactly. Being willing to put in the work now for a reward that might not come for months or even years. And the text also cautions against comparing ourselves to others. It's so easy to fall into that trap, especially with social media. But everyone's journey is unique.
So true. We got to focus on our own path. Patience, Trust the process. Now, the text gets into this really interesting technique, visualization. It's about mentally rehearsing success. Have you ever tried that?
Oh, visualization is incredibly powerful. The text emphasizes the importance of being really specific in those visualizations, engaging all of our senses, like really picturing ourselves achieving that goal, feeling the emotions, everything.
So it's not just daydreaming, it's about creating that vivid, detailed mental picture.
Exactly. And doing it regularly. The text explains how visualization can actually help us overcome obstacles by mentally preparing for those challenges, like mentally rehearsing different scenarios and how we'd respond. It's almost like training our minds for success.
And it reinforces that belief in ourselves, right? It's like if we can see it, we're more likely to believe we can achieve it.
Absolutely. And the text even suggests making a vision board, having those visual reminders of our goals and aspirations to keep them front and center.
Love that idea. Okay, final point from the text. Building resilience through adversity. It's about not just bouncing back from those tough times, but actually using them to become stronger.
It's a key part of the journey, right? The text reminds us that challenges are inevitable. It's how we choose to respond to them that defines us. And that response is where resilience comes in.
It encourages us to embrace challenges with that growth mindset, to see them as opportunities to learn and improve.
And to focus on finding solutions rather than dwelling on the problems.
Right, it's about that proactive approach. And self-care comes up again as a key ingredient in building resilience.
Taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental well-being, it's foundational.
Yeah.
If we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not going to have the energy or resilience to face those challenges head on.
And the text also talks about reflecting on past experiences, both the successes and the setbacks. It's like using those experiences as data, learning those valuable lessons to inform our future decisions.
Exactly. Learning from the past so we can make better choices moving forward. And finally, it emphasizes the importance of being adaptable. The path to success is rarely linear. Being willing to adjust our course, to be flexible in our approach, that's crucial for navigating those unexpected twists and turns.
So building resilience is like developing that inner strength and flexibility to weather those storms, to not just survive them, but to actually use them to propel us forward. Well, this deep dive into goal setting and achieving big dreams has been packed with insights.
It really has. From setting those smart goals, to cultivating the right mindset, to building those essential habits and developing that unshakable resilience.
It's about taking action consistently, even when we don't feel like it, and remembering that every step, no matter how small, brings us closer to where we want to be. So as you reflect on all of this, what resonates with you most? What's one small action you can commit to taking today to move closer to your big dream?
That's a great question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.